So, as we said earlier, this evening we are having a country living open forum session. So you come with all your country living questions that God has put on your hearts, or some questions that you may have that is bothering, that maybe has not been answered to an extent that you'd like, so you have not moved into the country as yet. So tonight is the time for that. So thank you everyone once again for joining us. So I will go into our next question, which is, okay, where was that question? How do I prepare mentally for moving into the country?
Wait, the last question was a two-phase.
Oh, yes.
Was about
one was how do you,
about,
and then the other one was how do you preserve food?
Yeah, I just
so how do you preserve food in the country?
I preserve food in the country. I leave it on the tree.
Okay.
So if I were to have, if the tree does a good job, I find, of preserving the food itself. So what we do, we leave it on the tree, and then we take it when we want it. But that's one way. That's an easy, cheap way. You don't have to spend no money. You just harvest it when necessary. However, the other ways I know of is canning. That's one way you get mason jars, I think they call them. People throw that all over the place. You can put a bulletin out. Hey, whoever has mason jars, let me know. I'll come and collect it for free. I dispose it. Maybe on Facebook, I don't know. But that's one way to preserve food, by canning. And canning is simple. Well, I've canned, and it's not as complicated as it may seem. However, there are really high-tech ways of canning. There are canners that you can buy. And drying food is, and I'm talking about off-grid methods, huh? So, because I live off-grid. Having a drying rack, that's a wonderful way. But my number one way of preserving food is leaving it on the tree. Which means when we cut open a pumpkin, we having pumpkin. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we having pumpkin because we have no refrigeration. So you have to select when you're gonna cut that pumpkin. And let me tell you, you could cook the same pumpkin in many different ways, with many different things. So that's what we do. So there's preserving, and there's planning how you're going to use what you harvesting so that it doesn't spoil.
What I'd add to that is, so for example, we just got a pumpkin. What we would do when we cut it, we keep it as best whole as possible, and we leave it to dry. So we put it out in the sun, and then so every day I cut a piece out of it, I just put it back in the sun, and I bring it back in. And that's how I keep my pumpkin for a little bit more of an extended period of time. Somebody also asked, how do you preserve lunch on Sabbaths?
Oh, Sabbath lunches. When you off-grid Sabbath lunches, you have to keep it simple. What we try to do more of fruits. We try to do what's the name of that thing we love? Unleavened bread and burritos. We do burritos. So with the burrito, you can basically put anything in there and wrap it. Salad, yeah.
So fruits.
So lunch on Sabbath is quite simple, and cereal as well. We do cereal as well.
Yeah. So that helps us to be able to preserve food.
So no cheese, no macaroni. Well, I guess that goes without saying. No macaroni, no. Yeah. And in our experience, the more complicated the food is, the more it tends to spoil quickly. When the food is simple or close to its natural state, and we eat as naturally the food as possible, we don't make pies. Well, on rare occasions, we may make a pie, but it go the same day. Yeah, so yeah, we try and keep food simple so it lasts longer. I see a hand, love.
Yes, go ahead. I see you, Ronnie.
Yes, Lincoln, you said something that's quite important for me. When I decide to plant, and whatever plants that I decide, I prefer to go for the smaller varieties. Like if I decide to plant cucumber, I don't go for the big cucumbers. I plant the smaller cucumbers, the smaller tomatoes. If the person selling seeds, I ask them what size are the tomatoes, and I normally don't go for the large varieties or large varieties of pumpkin and stuff like that, because what I realize is I would have to cut a cucumber and may not use all, and the other half is is watching me, or the same for the tomato and the pumpkin. So for me, if I were, well, in your shoes, I would definitely go for the smaller varieties of
that's good advice.
plants.
Yeah, that's very good advice. Actually, we actually use the cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
We planted the cherry tomatoes, and I remember they had I don't know what type of cucumber it was, but it was like stumpy.
Oh,
I don't remember its name.
The other thing, Ronnie, that just came to my mind was speaking. When you composting, when you build a compost pile, you composting. When the food spoil, don't water you that much, because you're cycling that back in. So that's the other thing. It's just that when you want it and it's not there, that's different. But yes. So I don't know. I'm a quite simple person. So on preserving, yes, there are many ways to preserve. Drying is one. Canning is another that's popular, and that's low-tech ways of preserving food. It's not quite complicated. And we don't mean the metal cans, when I say canning. We're talking about the mason jars.
Okay, so I have a question in the chat. So I'll take it before I go back to the questions online. I do a lot of planting in pots, containers, or anything I can put soil into. How do I keep the soil fertile? Because now I realize my plants are not doing too well.
You will need to fertilize those plants. You may have to take some of the soil out, like root prune some of the plants. Well, after they die off, when you bring in new plants, you may have to put in some organic matter, mix the soil all over again to plant the new cell crop. You cannot keep putting in more plants and expect the soil to still perform, because I explained that in one of those classes. Every time a tree grows, it takes from the soil to become a tree. So then whatever nutrients was in the soil initially, however fertile the soil was initially, that fertility would degrade because that fertility went into making the tree and making the fruit. And now you harvested the fruit and you went away with it. So that nutrient didn't cycle back. So you have to be able to cycle back nutrients in there. And once the plant is already in the pot though, you can make some compost tea, you can make a little gel. I know I will not explain. Eli would be excited if you knew what that. So they have you could find organic ways like liquid fertilizers that you can give. Instead of giving your plants straight water, you could give it a liquid fertilizer, compost tea. I mentioned that.
Yeah. The compost tea is basically taking the compost and putting it in the water and using the water to water the plants versus using the entire thing in there.
So a low-tech way of making a fertilizer, you could take the one, you could take what's the name of the plant? Love? The plant I love. I just comfrey. Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. You could find comfrey and you could write that down because this is like the holy grail of natural fertilizers. You could take the comfrey if you want to blend it. You don't need to blend it, but you put it in water, and as it decomposes, it releases its nutrients into the water, and you could water the plants with that that water. Some people say when it starts stinking, don't use it. I still use it, so I don't know.
What I would add to that is when you grow plants in enclosed areas, they can sometimes they may do well for a time, and they may stop doing well after some time when they start choking themselves in their roots.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Yes, so then the plant can become root bound, and that could slow, especially if it's a big plant, if it doesn't have enough space for its root to grow. What can happen is that the roots grow so much in the pot and that they start mangling and suffocating each other. So that's another thing. What else to consider as well is how much light the plant may be getting and how much water it may be getting as well.
And is that water draining in a way, a natural enough way for the plant to be able to survive?
Yeah, but we don't do much container gardening.
But with the container gardening, you have to be aware of the roots getting mangled.
Yeah, that's one thing to consider. Yeah. So you may have to root prune a couple of times.
Yeah. How do you root prune?
No, you ask all the hard questions.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, you would have to. I don't want to answer that right now.
It's a long story.
No, it's not a long story. It's
technical.
It's complicated. it's complicated.
Because you could kill the plants.
Yeah, it's complicated. The roots is something you don't want to mess with unless you really know what you're doing. So I will just not answer this. Yeah.
Okay, so these are some of the things that you can consider as you do your container gardening.
But you can look up root burning online. I'll put that way.
So let me see if I can get some more questions from online. Well, if there's none in the chat or I don't see a hand up, okay, I'll ask you a question. And that was a question that somebody asked me on a forum one time.
Easy question you ask me.
How are you considering, why are you considering country living on an island when the islands are going to disappear?
You were gonna ask me that question.
Yeah, that was.
Has anybody ever heard that question before? Why actually I heard that question. Somebody asked, why are you guys on the island going country living when NY said the islands are gonna disappear? Has anybody ever heard that before? Islands disappear, sir?
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so
looking for the quote. I didn't find the quote yet. You asked me that question.
Okay, well, we can always come back to that question. Okay, somebody says yes, they've heard that question before. So we can always come.
Was it islands disappear?
Yeah, when islands disappear. So we can always come back to that question, but we will go back to our questions online. You want to read the quotes to help? Okay.
Yeah, the quote answers the question. So
okay.
yeah.
All right, but I'll allow you to do that.
So I will not give my answer. I'll just let the quote speak for itself. The island disappear quote is taken from Great Controversy. So it's actually a real thing that NY did say islands are going to disappear. However, what is good to consider is the context in which she said it, or the time in which she spoke about islands disappearing. So I'll read the quotes, and it's from Great Controversy, chapter 40. And the actual title of the thing is God's People Delivered. So that kind of explains that already. So I'm start from 646, paragraph 2. The voice shakes the heaven. Well, I'll start before that. Great Controversy 646, paragraph 1. It says, "It is at midnight that God manifests his power for the deliverance of his people. The sun appears, shining in its strength. Signs and wonders follow in quick succession. The wicked look with terror and amazement upon the sins, while the righteous behold the solemn joy, the tokens of their deliverance. Everything in nature seems to turn out of its course. The streams cease to flow. Dark, heavy clouds come up and clash against each other. In the midst of the angry heavens is one clear space of indescribable glory, whence comes the voice of God like the sound of many waters, saying, 'It is done.'" Revelation chapter 16 verse 17. "The voice shakes the heavens and the earth. There is a mighty earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake that, and so great. The firmament appears to open and shut. The glory from the throne of God seems flashing through. The mountains shake like a reed in the wind, and rage rocks are scattered on every side. There is a roar as of a coming tempest. The sea is lashing into fury. There is heard a shriek of a hurricane, like the voice of demons upon the mission of destruction. The whole earth heaves and swells like waves of the sea. The surface is breaking up. Its very foundation seems to be giving way. Mountains, chains are sinking. Inhabited islands disappear." So that's the part where inhabited islands disappear. The seaports that became like Sodom for wickedness are swallowed up by the angry waters. Babylon the Great has come in remembrance before God to give unto her the cup of the wine of her fierceness of his wrath. Great hailstones, everyone about the weight of a talent, are doing the work of destruction. So I may not ask everybody, I'll ask you, what time does that sound like to you, that islands are going to disappear?
That sounds like the time of Jacob's trouble when God is going to deliver his people.
Yes. If you listen at the scene, it does mention that the wicked look with terror and amazement upon the sins, while the righteous behold the solemn joy and tokens of their deliverance. So while we are looking at the tokens of our deliverance, if islands disappear, who cares?
Well, at that point,
every decision is already made, and the righteous would be taken care of. So when somebody tells you that the islands disappear, yeah, the islands disappear, but the islands disappear when God has already said it is finished, it is done. The decisions of every human person is already made. So if by then islands disappear, if you are on the Lord's side, there's nothing to worry about. So that would be my answer.
All right.
That's your hand.
Thank you so much. I see another hand. Go ahead with your question before we go back to the online questions. Sam, I see your hand, so you could go ahead with your question. Okay.
So I guess Sam have his hand up.
Yes, so I guess when he gets back, we'll do another question in the meantime.
I'd love for everybody to ask me questions so that it's more organic.
Well, until people have their questions, I will use the ones that we got from online.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I had a beautiful
I have a question.
I had a beautiful question. Go ahead.
If the quote just said that God is going to deliver his people, right? If God is going to deliver people, why is there even need to go country living?
Because God will be delivering his people in the time of Jacob's trouble. But God is asking us to prepare for the time of no buying and selling, or God is asking us to move into the country because that was just his original plan. He wanted us to live in a garden. That's where he put us first.
So are you saying that country living is not a way to escape difficulty?
No, it's not. You kind of find a little bit more difficulty in the country if you look hard enough.
You don't have to look hard.
Yeah, you don't have to.
The country living is to prepare our characters. So there's a lot of difficulty in moving to the country.
Yes.
A lot of people believe country living is smooth sailing onto glory. No.
It has a lot.
Character development. So there's a lot of tests, a lot of trials. I have more questions, sir. What's about hiding though? What role does hiding play in country living?
You're hiding from the temptations of the city, I guess. But country living is not about hiding. Country living is about spending time in nature to draw closer to God. And why do I say to draw closer to God? Because he said it, to behold his handiwork.
Now, you know how many people are looking for a property when there's no cell service?
You would still need to communicate. And on Thursday, we're going to have a family sharing with us how to evangelize in the country. And that is to show that your country living location shouldn't be a secret necessarily. I mean, you don't want every body coming at on your country location and where you don't have enough time to spend with God, your family, your garden, and so on. But evangelism is something that you you're going to be doing. Trust me, when you learn more about God, when you learn more about the work that he asks us to do, the message that he wants us to give out into all of the world, trust me, you don't want to hide. You don't want to hide this at all.
One thing I always remember, it's from, I could say his name, it's from Dwayne Lemon. Dwayne Lemon said to all the people that think country living is about hiding, you think the devil can say, look, you behind that stone over there? Yeah. The devil can see you hiding behind the stone over there. So it's a misconception to believe that country living is about hiding, or that in going to a location where nobody can find you, you're somehow going to preserve your life. No. the Bible says that he will hide you in his pavilion. So the hiding part is something God is gonna do. However, country living is about having a life that helps you draw closer to God, and have a location that you can take people where they can detox from the life of the city, or where they can learn to appreciate a life in nature. So when people say that they want to hide, I know that it's because they're not well informed about country living. Yeah. A lot of people thought we were going to hide when we moved where we are now. But we're always inviting people to come and camp, come and be here. We actually in the location now. And if we were in a place where we had no cell service, then we'll not be able to be doing what we're doing right now. So if you have any bit of hiding, I guess you could ask a question about hiding, but I would say that it's not wise to want to hide.
God is the one doing the hiding, and the hiding part comes when the probation would have already been closed.
It's kind of selfish in and of itself, because you are to go and win people. Enoch did not hide his location from anybody. Enoch went ministering, and he brought people over to his place of residence. And it was their decision whether they wanted to stay or not. But there's no way you can hide and evangelize and bring people at the same time. I mean, I don't know how, well, if it can, I don't know how it can work. But yeah, I wanted to address that.
Okay, sure. You want to go back to the questions online?
Yeah, that was my question. Oh, online, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
what are the best? Yeah. Okay. What are the best cooking methods that is economical for off-grid living?
Wow, that's okay. Best method, economical.
Yes.
That may not necessarily be the same thing. Best method might not be economical, because I would say the best method is to have a pot belly stove or a wood burning stove. Okay. And if you're in a cold place, it can heat your house at the same time. So you could use wood to light that stove, and then you would not have the problem of dealing with black pots. So that would be my best method. Or you could maybe build an oven and use wood. However, best method, there are many methods. I'm not sure which one is the best method, because it depends on your skill level or what is available to you. So if we are talking about methods, there's biogas. That's a method. You could actually make your own biogas from food scraps. Yeah, you could make biogas. That's one method. Or you could use that simple way of using freestones, Swedish starch. What's your favorite rocket stove? That's your favorite. Yeah, you should maybe have a slide.
Quite efficient. Yeah. Quite.
The rocket stove does not make smoke. However, it still can get your pots black. Yeah, so may not be the best method if you're a very tidy person. Yeah. So if you're a very, very tidy person, and like you really clean your house and no dust on the floor kind of person, and you don't see a black pot, then you might have to forsake the cheapness and get a wood burning stove that will get your pans black. Yeah.
So somebody asked, what are the first things to do after you purchase your country property? What is the first things? Yeah, so I'm gonna give them the first three things.
Okay, because I would say the first thing to do is thank the Lord. Full stop. I'm done.
Yeah, so the first three things. Okay, thank the Lord. Number two, you evaluate the plan that you had for going country living. If you had one.
Okay. I'll say evaluate the place, number two.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the question again? If you already have the place, right?
Yeah. What are the first things you do after purchase?
Okay. After purchase. Okay. So number one is thank the Lord. Number two, thank the Lord. And number three, thank the Lord again. Number four would be evaluate the property. You should have already done that, but you get it written down. Tree species, whether they're stones, rocks, resources for building, places for growing food, places for whatever your plans are, maybe aquaponics, whatever. Evaluate, if there's a building there, evaluate the structural strength of the building, whether how much work needs to be done on it to keep it safe if it's not safe. evaluate whether there are trees. So evaluating the place, what it has, advantages, disadvantages. That would be my number 2. And that information, yes, evaluate your water supply. Thank you very much for that. Your water sources.
How much water do you usually
yes.
use? Yeah. So then,
yeah, it's important to know if you live in a place that is very polluted, then kind of takes out rain harvesting from you. But you should not move into the country in a place that's very polluted. So that kind of answers that. But people make mistakes. It's possible to buy land that's in a place that's polluted. So evaluate whatever you have, your needs, make a list of your needs, see how much of it can be fulfilled by the place as it stands, and how much changing or upgrading needs to be done to get it to a place where you can comfortably live there and have a budget for it.
Yeah.
So then after evaluate, step number, that was 6, because 1, 2, and 3 was find the road. So 5 would be 6, maybe 6. I should have never do 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, but the next plan would be to have a plan. So you evaluate, you know what you have, you know that the losses, I didn't put out, and I have to go and check it later. Make a plan, and then I would say make a budget for that plan. I've gone checking the generator.
All right. So next question. Okay, what skills would you need when you, all right. So what skills would you need if you are moving into the country? Some of the skills that I'd say you would need is, 1, the skills of observation. One of the best skills possible. Next skill, a positive attitude. There will be things you don't know, there will be things you have to learn, and you have to be okay with the learning, be okay with making mistakes. So yeah, keeping a positive attitude is something that is also essential. Some other skills that would be good to have is, well, especially with us, we've found that the skills of lighting a fire without matches is a skill that we appreciate having. So especially when it's to light our outdoor fire, or the mud oven, learning how to light a fire without matches is one, and of course to maintain a good fire without smoke and all of that. I think that's another really good skill that we found that we had. Well, that's for specifically living off-grid. Of course, the skill of farming. Now, all of the skills that I have shared, with some good observation, you can learn. Observation as in learning how nature does things, so that you can basically mimic nature to do it on your own. So these are some of the things, these are some of the skills that I would say that you can consider. Yeah, these are some of the skills you can consider. Get the courses get some courses in those areas, so that you can be better able to take care of yourself. The flint, no. Oh, I get, yeah. Yeah, okay. So this is our flint and steel.
That's how much we use it.
Yeah, it's something that we use
quite regularly.
Quite regularly.
And we have no matches now as of late.
Yes, so
and we also get to buy it.
Yeah.
So we use this I can't show that, but you could light, you could light fire like this.
Yes, with this.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's an asset.
Oh, somebody says, I would like to learn how to maintain a fire with minimal smoke.
Oh, that is kind of a scientific process to keep. Smoke is unburnt fuel, put it that way. So if the rocket stove is a good example. Oh, check research Dakota fire pits. Write it, put in the chat.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Put in the chat. So smokeless fires, I'll give you 2 things to check on. We should have done a session on fires, huh?
Yeah, we have a lot of sessions.
Dakota, like the country. I think DEK. What's here? Yeah, I think that Dakota fire pits and rocket stove. Yeah, check on those 2 ways of maintaining a fire. That's a smokeless way to light wood or burn wood. So that's 2 good resources.
Okay, next question. Does anyone know how to make coal kiln? The method of packing wood and covering it with soil and bush and let the wood turn into coals to use in a coal stove. You've done that.
Yeah, I've done that, but that's not the most effective way of making coals. That is just the way everybody does it. So because the thing about making coals that way is that it's usable only once and you have to start the whole process all over again every time. So the most effective way of making coals, well, the simplest way of making coals is put the wood in a steel container and burn the container. So that's a simple way, but that we have more loss. So that's simple. You pack the wood, thin, dry wood in a metal can, and you burn the can. So then inside of the wood I think they call the process pyrolysis, where the moisture would burn out and the carbon would stay, and you would have made charcoal. Another way is, so then in packing the wood, because that's a question, you could pack the wood one of 2 ways. One of the things that's important is to have a place for the air to pass through the bottom. Now, some people pack diagonally across, and some people pack basically no horizontal. Diagonally across. Yeah. And some people pack along the length of the kiln. So yes, so but I guess I can't really explain making a charcoal kiln like.
Oh yeah, you'd have to demonstrate that one.
Yeah, that's something I'd have to demonstrate. But okay, resources, I can do that. So check on Google Japanese charcoal making. That's a way more efficient way of making charcoal.
Japanese charcoal
I'm
making.
trying to find it. There's actually a name they call it. I forget the name right now. Yeah. But they have many ways to make charcoal outside of the way we do it. I try making charcoal and I don't have no intention to do it the way we normally do the solution because it's not the most efficient way of doing it. Yeah.
So Japanese
charcoal kiln. Charcoal kiln. Yeah, put that instead. KILN. Kiln. LN.
Yeah. So that's some resources that you can look at to help you with.
Yeah, but every country makes charcoal differently. I'll tell you that. There isn't a one set way. The St. Lucia way is not the India way. The India way is not the Japan way. However, what is important, I'll put that the foundational principle for charcoal is to be able to keep the oxygen out while still causing the wood to be under intense heat. Okay, so you want to keep the oxygen out so that the wood doesn't get consumed, but you want the heat so that it can, what's the word, man? But there's a word for the processor. Pyrolysis, I think, is a word. That's what comes to mind. So that would be one of it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions in the chat before we go?
Yeah, there's a question. What does it mean to live off-grid? Oh, that's easy to answer. Off-grid simply means that you're not dependent on municipalities for lights and water. I think that's about it. Yeah, electricity and water. So off-grid means you have no indoor plumbing. Your indoor plumbing is not from the city or county or town you make your own. Like your electricity is not from the grid. That's where the word of grid come from, because the electric lines are called the grid. So being off grid means you maybe solar or have no electricity at all. So you're not dependent on them for electricity. Yeah, so that's what it means to be off the grid.
Okay.
Is off-grid living always the most efficient? No, off-grid living is not the most efficient. They are faster, easier. People move to the city for what, Michelle? For what's the word? Conveniences. My love is playing in the lights. Huh? People move to the city for conveniences. Let me tell you, today we had no time to get ready. I must apologize. We were busy today, so we just got home. So we're sorry for all the moving around. Yeah. But people move to the city for conveniences, baby. You really show me something. People move to the city for conveniences. So off-grid living is not convenient. Or efficient. Oh,
you can be efficient in your off-grid life.
I have a question.
It's just that how you plan it and how you have your system set up. Yeah. What off-grid living does is helps you to become more self-sufficient
and more sensitive,
yeah,
to the environment, because the weather, you at the mercy of the weather. You actually in harmony, well, not in harmony, but the rhythms of nature affects your life directly. Yeah. So when it rains, you happy.
You have a lot of water.
You have more water. You will never be sad when it rain. Well, maybe not never, but you learn to appreciate rainfall when you're off grid, because that's your water source. I have a question, Mike. What's the difference between country living and primitive living? Because somebody once told me that I'm not country living yet because I still have a vehicle. So what's the difference between country living and primitive living?
Primitive living would require you to basically go back into the Stone Age, where you don't use
a cell phone,
modern technologies to sustain yourself in any way. So that would include a vehicle, no vehicle. I'm guessing you'd use some kind of an animal, whether it be a mule, a donkey, a horse. Primitive living is basically living without the modern amenities. Without
is that what the Lord is calling us to do, primitive living?
No, he asked us to have primitive godliness, which is different. Primitive godliness means you go back to God's original ideal for your life.
So it doesn't mean that we have to live the same way people live in the Bible.
No. If
so
we don't,
I can't go on a plane.
Yeah, you can go on a plane.
So not because Jesus is in our plane, I mean I can't have a plane.
Yeah.
But, okay. So I can own a car and country live. Okay. All right.
And living with electricity and water and all of those things in your country living location is fine as well.
Yes.
It is fine. Yeah. So somebody may ask, okay, so then what do you do in the time of no buying and selling? You
do without it.
You have to learn to do without it.
Yeah,
but if you decide you want to keep it and you use it.
So you're saying it's not necessary, and I agree with you. It's not necessary to go country living and go off grid all in one shot.
Yeah.
Especially if you are living a very pampered or convenient life. And that leads to how I answered the question earlier. Yes, you want to be outside of your comfort zone, but you do not go so far out your comfort zone that you become useless to your own self. Go within your ability to take care of your needs and allowing God to provide for you. Yes, but do not be presumptuous. That's my thing. Do not be presumptuous. Do not say, I'll go into the country, I will have no real good plans, but the Lord will take care of me despite my no real good plans. That is presumption. God is asking us to be wise. Yeah. I see a hand. Sam,
you can go ahead.
Yes, that plant using for making the fertilizer, if you can find it, can you show an image of it so we can see what it looks like?
Yes, Michelle, can you do that?
Yeah. Comfrey.
There are different kinds of comfrey as well. So yeah, it has a pink flower, but there are different kinds. How you share it out?
On that one.
Not comfrey or
Comfrey.
plant. Plant.
Those are plants. So let me get a picture of it.
I think that's F-R-E-Y. Yeah. Comfrey. Yeah, that's it. Comfrey. That's one kind. That's one kind. So you show that one. But we don't look for the more popular kind.
Okay.
I'll find it and then you post it.
Yeah. So it's something that you can grow, and
I get a flower one.
yeah, the pink one is nice.
One is the flower. Yeah, the one you have is good.
Okay.
One you have is good.
So I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see the
Yeah. No more questions? You have a question?
yes, just I will give you
Oh,
a
you want to say
let
that?
me
Okay.
just share my screen with the comfrey plants so everybody can see what it looks like. And it is very good for
As a liquid fertilizer and a nitrogen supplement. It's a great nitrogen supplement. Yeah, so that's a comfrey. Can you show another image?
oh sure. So this is one.
Show one. That's just the leaf. So show one. Like there was one. Go again. Yeah, show that one.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the full plants as well. So this is one. I'm going to show you another one.
What is he showing? Lincoln, how does it grow? Is there seed? Is there?
It's propagated by the root though. It's propagated by the root. So you can get a piece of the root and yeah, and you could spread that way.
All right.
The seed, I think they do sell seeds, but I think it's more popular. I don't know if I don't know if they sell seeds, but I know it's propagated by cutting off the root and planting it somewhere else, putting it somewhere else. That's how I know they propagate it.
All right.
Yeah. But what people do, like they plant this all over their garden and they just mulch it. Just cut it and spread around your plants. It throws roots really deep in the ground and harvests a lot of minerals. And make those minerals available in the leaves. And those leaves can be composted, mulch, what's that word? Yeah, made into a tea for your garden. And when I say tea, I don't mean boil. You simply take the leaves, crush them. Or someone asking them on the plants. Crush them and have it in water, say 3 days, sorry. That's what was Ronnie's recommendation. Ronnie, I keep mine in the water and I just keep adding more comfrey and more water forever. So yeah, so but I guess Ronnie's right because Ronnie does things by the book. 3 days, and then you could water your garden with it. My one advice, if it went bad, the one advice is put it on the ground, put it on the plant, and if it happens to get onto the plant, rinse out the plant. Yeah, so you don't harvest your kale and it's made of still comfrey. So you water the roots instead of watering the plants. Yeah.
Okay.
So
let me see if I have any more hands before we move to the questions in the
I thought we could have a lot of questions first.
yeah.
That means we've done a good job, Mitchell.
Apparently, and everybody's watching the videos.
Yeah, I think we're doing a good job. I honestly thought we have a lot of questions.
Yes, I did too.
I'm looking for the tough questions in my mind.
Okay. No, but we have the questions.
No, your questions are very tough.
That's the ones I have.
I was looking for my tough questions, your questions. But continue. I just say I don't know if I did, so that's all
right. What do I consider when looking for a country living location?
Oh, that's a question.
Okay, so some of the things that you can consider when looking for a country location is Is it
I can interview? Sure. It's a quote that comes to mind. Whenever someone asks me a question, the quote comes to mind. Where MI says, get out of the city into the country. That's one. Where you can grow your own provisions, where you can be free from the influence of enemies. Where, what's the other one? Growing provision, free from the influence of enemies. Where your children can grow up to love the Lord. That's another one. Where the houses are not crowded together. That's another one. What did she give? What does she give? So whether there is what's on the property is not even as important. Is the spiritual benefit of being in the country that's more important, not a river and a spring and fruit trees and all that, because you can't grow fruit trees, you can't harvest rainwater. It's ideal to have a river, but properties with rivers are on the more pricier end of things. I mean, the Lord can provide. I will not doubt the Lord providing somebody with no money land. Let me tell you, I can testify.
With a river.
With a river, I can testify. So the Lord can provide. However, it may not always be that everybody can get a river property. So houses are crowded together, free from the influence of enemies, where you can grow your own provisions. Yeah, that would be my answer. So you fill in the blank that I missed.
I'd also add, anytime you're going to look for a property with trees are valuable.
Yes.
So whether it be fruit trees or trees for wood, yes, or trees for medicine,
yes,
or trees to build your home, or to use as fuel.
Or to slow down the wind pressure on your house.
Yes, trees are a valuable resource. So a piece of land with trees on it would be something that you'd want to consider. A river, if possible, and you can afford it, or a spring or a well. That is something that you'd want to look into as well, as having to consider on your country property. Can you access it?
Yes.
That's something you need to
accessibility. Yes.
If it's not accessible at the time, but you can afford to make access to it, then fine, that is even more beautiful.
And what comes to mind is the people who intend to go country in order to hide. They would look for a property that is furthest away, but they would have the hardest time getting materials to that site or moving to and from that site. They would have a tough time doing that. And they may get discouraged and they may just forget about country altogether because they took a road that was way too difficult.
So that is something that you can consider when looking for a country property that to move on to. These are just some of the main things that I would consider. I would, for persons who are have very low income, you can consider properties that are virgin. And if you have the time to put the work into it, to get it to a particular place and in a particular time span. Okay, so that is something that you can consider in a country property. Anybody else would like to share? Oh, yes, Ronnie, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I have a separate question with regards to hygiene, country living and maintaining hygiene. Do you recommend that, is it that you recommend that we stock up on toiletries, or is there supplementals to say toothpaste, toilet paper, deodorant, stuff like that? Bodily hygiene, country living, how do you recommend that be managed?
That's a nice question. What comes to mind though, even before I answer the question, what comes to mind is like almost like preparing for a hurricane. Because the counsel we were given is that the problem of buying and selling be a very serious one. So initially, when a hurricane is coming, we do buy and stock up. So there's nothing wrong with buying and stocking up. I'll say that first. Because when we prepare for a hurricane, and this is a longer hurricane, this is a spiritual influence hurricane, it's not a natural one. So then stocking up is part of the way to prepare. I know that illustrates a second thing, and we'll have to do that. It comes to mind already. about the when she said that the thing will be taken from you if you stop up.
Oh, yes, there's a time when you can't leave your.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Okay.
this. So let me answer this question. So however, there are what's the name of this? There are things that you can use for toilet paper that is natural. It's not very efficient, but you may have to just take a shower after. That's part of it. So hygiene, toilet paper is ideal. There's a reason why we use it. It's the best. Soap, you can learn to make your own soap. Yeah, you can. I know growing up, we used to use hibiscus for soap. When you're really poor, use hibiscus as your soap. It does lather and everything. For
Yeah, and for shampoo
toothpaste,
too.
charcoal makes a really good toothpaste. I'm not sure if it is abrasive enough that it can wear out your enamel. I think that's something to look into. But you can use charcoal or activated charcoal. Let me say that. Or what's the name of the thing now? Ash as well. You can use ash as well.
You can use clean as well.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Clean does really well.
That's a wonderful toothbrush. The kid is a wonderful toothbrush. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Though. That's pretty smart. Though.
For deodorant, lemon works.
For deodorant, I don't know. I've not been using deodorant for maybe like 7 years now. I don't know if anybody can tell. If you can tell, let me know. I've not been using deodorant for a long time. I try to live a healthier life. And my theory, love, if it's not working, let me know. My theory is that if you have less toxins in your body will function better to get rid of waste better and you'll smell better. That's my theory. So if it's not working, let me know, guys. Well, maybe not now. But maybe if I get message me, Lincoln, oh, that's the problem. All right. Yeah. So, but if I really have something important to do where I know I'm going to be nervous, I would put on deodorant. So yeah.
But you could use things like a lemon. Yeah. There are things you can use.
Yeah, there are scented plants that you can use. Because that's where they make the perfume and everything from. Yeah.
Lemon along with baking soda works very well.
That's the thing that just came to mind. Yes, baking soda. Yes, Mitchell, you're using baking soda for a long time.
Yeah, that's when I go out. I don't go out that often.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's true. You don't. Maybe bathe more often in the day. I don't know. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that are really important in structural society. But when society breaks down, when we can buy and sell, a lot of things that we think are real priorities that we're planning for won't be as important to us. Yeah. To be honest, it won't be as important. So, but we're not in that situation yet. So,
but it's always good to keep them in mind.
Yeah, but sorry.
And also, sanitary napkins. What's your recommendation?
I'd say stock up.
Yeah, that's why I said.
But back in the day,
I think that's the
There are sanitary napkins that you can use over and over.
I can't hear you, Cassie.
Go ahead.
There are sanitary napkins that you can use over and over. They're made of different kinds of cloth, natural fibers, etc.
Yeah.
Reusable. You can wash them. Pardon me?
You really low. I love for this. Oh, the thing I'm talking about? Okay, so.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I said there are sanitary napkins that are that can be used over and over. They're cloth, but they're made with special fibers, very good natural fibers that can be used over and over. There are also, for women who might not consider that, there is also what you call the cup. So there are many options available.
Yeah.
What was the second option she mentioned?
Well, they call it the cup, where it's something that you insert. Well, you can Google it, and you have to clean it properly, but it gathers a lot from there for a long period of time, and you wash it. So this would actually prevent you from buying all the time, or in that you cannot buy. But they are also, like I said, the cloth ones made with very good fiber, etc. Special ones that can be washed over and over. And some of them look very modern, actually.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Cassie. I've actually heard about the cup already. I don't think I've heard about the reusable ones. I've heard about
Yeah, reusable ones. But these are things that, and it really is good to do your research, as much research as of this now. So at least you're aware of, okay, before the time of no buying and selling when I can't, or maybe even before the time of I cannot afford to buy anything, that you have the alternatives that you can consider. So thank you so much for that, Cassie.
There's a reason why people say don't stock up, and it's a quote from Illinois that people misunderstand. Let me try it. Once you continue, baby, let me see if I can find it. Okay. And I explain that quote. It's a quote about if God's children are things stocked up and prepared, that will be taken from them. And people use that quote to mean that you cannot stock up. However, every time there's a hurricane, we stock up. So if there's a spiritual hurricane coming, why can't we stock up? Yeah. So let me see.
I mean, you don't go overboard. I mean,
yeah, we depend on God, but we can't be stupid either.
Yeah. So you wisely make the purchases that you know that you would need, and especially the alternatives that they are available, you consider them as well. So for example, the plant that you can use as tissue, that's something you can just plant, just because it's a nice smelling plant that you can have by your place, and it's really nice and soft, but you know that it's something that you can use you can use later on when tissue is no longer available. So it's good to have this knowledge.
Can I say something?
I remember growing up, we used to be with Glory Cedar leaf, and used to give you a nice scent after.
And hibiscus too.
Can I say something?
You were saying something, Cassie?
Yes, I was saying one of the things to look out for, especially with the products that you're used to buying in terms of your skin and your hair, find out a lot of them actually have natural ingredients. So one of the things that you can do is find out what the main natural ingredients are in these products, and then you can use them without a lot of chemicals. You can just get it straight from the source.
That's very true. That is very true. So when the products that you use, so for example, aloe vera soap and aloe vera, all of these things, one of the main natural ingredients is aloe. So you learn as much as you can and you plant it. So in the time of when you cannot, I wouldn't even say the time of no buying and selling, the time you cannot afford to buy aloe vera, you have the aloe planted in your backyard. We have another question. What are the main tools to get when off grid? Even before we answer that question, just to add a little bit more to what we were saying concerning Ronnie's question, one of the things that I've learned is to go back a couple of years and learn from the persons that are much older than me to find out how they did things.
They still have the knowledge.
Exactly. They still have the knowledge. They still have they grew up in a time where they didn't have electricity. They didn't have running water, and they're alive today. So using the coconut husk to scrub your pans or to clean your certain things, to make bedding, all of these kind of things, we can learn that from our elders. So these skills don't have to be lost forever, and it doesn't have to mean that you go looking for coconut husk to wash your pans now, but at least you're aware of the other options that are available in case.
Before you jump on, there is that plant. It's like a cucumber, and the inside of it, they would use it as a wash rag.
Yes. What's its name?
I know what. Yeah, it's like it's green.
Species as well.
Like a light green.
I forget the name though, but yeah.
Yeah, when it gets brown, you take the inside is like what, like steel wool or something like that.
Yeah. I know that. I don't know.
But the fruit looks like a cucumber. I don't know the name of it.
I know.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But
it has lots of black seeds on the inside.
In Patois, they call it torchon. I don't know what's the English name.
What's the name, Sister Daisy?
Torchon.
Cochon.
For sure.
We'll have to,
Yeah.
I'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
I remember
That would be
seeing,
a nice thing to plant.
yes,
That'd be a nice thing.
We
yes.
have some at the mission office.
You serious?
Ah, we must say,
Okay.
that would be nice
The
to have.
new one or the old one?
The new one.
Okay, I didn't
That's
know that.
good. That's good. Now, all of these things, when we learn about them and we plant them,
Yeah.
even in a time when you don't have, so for example,
You
with
can't make
us,
it to the supermarket for whatever reason. You can start using
you can
it.
use it.
Yeah.
Well, I prefer, I rather use it than wash rags. Think it does a better job. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
when I cannot get, once I can get the torsion, I use it
Mhm.
instead.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's the thing. Knowing those skills helps you save money.
Mhm.
Because you don't have to buy everything. You could take care of yourself.
Yeah, so you don't even have to wait
improvise.
for the time
Yeah.
of no buying and selling for you to be able to use these items.
Yeah.
It's a good alternative.
Can I do the quote now?
If I were to sum up a lot of what's been said into a sentence, it would mean to me that what we're actually saying, that we should start simplifying our life from now on. So when that time comes, we are living a lot more simple life. The truth is, a lot of the things we think we need, we really don't need them. So simplifying our life from now on, start letting go of a lot of stuff that we think that we really need. It helps a great deal when you get to a point where these things are not available.
Yeah. And one of the things that add to that, the availability of those things does not necessarily have to be in a crisis. It could just be a food shortage at that particular time and a particular thing is not accessible.
Yeah.
So having this alternative is always wise.
But what came to mind is the quote that says, those who step by step yielded to worldly custom and worldly demands didn't find a hard thing to submit to the powers that be and accept accept the standard of basically. And what I ask myself, and everybody should ask that for themselves, I ask myself, what is a worldly custom? What is a worldly demand that in my life that would cause me to forsake Christ and accept convenience and over difficulty with him? Yeah. Can I do my question? Yeah. Okay, so I can do my question now, right? And I can do it. So you can. So let me see. Okay, so then there's a quote in Ellen White, where she said that those who had food stored up, it will be taken from them. And many persons have used that quote to mean that you shouldn't go country living. So the quote is from, what's that book club? What's that book? I go. Read it first and then you give it. Yeah, I read. Because before you lose it. Yeah, it's CCH. For the life of me, I can't remember the book. It's CCH. It's page 281, paragraph 3. And it says, the Lord has shown me repeatedly that it is contrary to the Bible to make any provisions for our temporal wants in the time of trouble. I saw that if the saints had laid food up for them, or in the field in the time of trouble, when the sword, famine, and pestilence are in the land, it would be taken from them. That already answers what time it is. But I'll continue. By violent hands, and strangers would reap their fields. Then will be the time for us to trust wholly in God, and he will sustain us. I saw that our bread and water will be sure at that time, and that he shall not lack or suffer hunger, for God is able to spread a table for us in the wilderness. If necessary, he would send ravens to feed us, as he did to feed Elijah, or rain manna from heaven, as he did for the Israelites. And some people read this and they say, you see, that's all the proof you need. You don't need to go country living. However, if you were to pay attention to the quote, you would have to ask yourself, what time is the quote talking about? And the quote is talking about, and the key here is, it said, and at that time. Let me tell you, I love the fact that it said at that time, because that reminds me of Daniel 12:1, where Michael stands up and intercession stops and probation closes, and the future salvation of every soul has already been decided. at that time would not be a time to be going country living or having food stored up, because at that time would be when we are taken care of and our bread and water would be short. But before that time, God has called us to go country living. Before that time, we are told from the Bible that that no man may buy and sell save either have the mark or the name of the beast. And I always tell my wife, if I'm on a boat going to Matnik, going to Dominica, and when we get to Matnik, they say between Dominica and Matnik, the boat is going to sink, I'm out. I'm going on to land, or I'll be searching to find where the lifeboats are. I'll not be saying the Lord is going to take care of me when I'm already told that the boat has a problem and it's most likely going to sink between Matnik to Senegal. Okay, that would be presumptuous. So when is a time that we should not be storing up food, or we should not be depending on our country living homes for safety, would be at the point where Michael stands up, at the point where probation is closed. This is the time where God is going to take care of us. But before that time, we are told to prepare. We are given advice. She said it over and over again. Again and again, the Lord has instructed that our people should move into the cities. Again and again, you can find that quote many places. So she's not speaking against what she already said. She's establishing it and she's exploring on it. And she's saying there's a point where it will not be necessary because God is going to take care of us.
Question, what are the main tools to get when off the grid? I remember when we moved, what we got was a fork, a shovel,
a garden rake, a spade, so the round one and the flat one.
We got a
cutlasses.
Yeah, we got cutlasses, more than one of those. We also got,
we had an axe,
a solar panel for just charging our phones, like a portable solar panel.
A 16 watt solar panel to charge the phones.
We also got personal knives.
Yeah, we got headlights too.
Yeah,
for moving around in the night. And now we have USB rechargeable headlights. 11 feet. Okay. We have USB rechargeable headlights, so we can charge it off of the solar panels, charge it in the vehicle, charge it off a battery bank, charge it at people home. So we can charge our lights. So we had an axe because we didn't have a chainsaw at the time.
We got an axe.
We had an axe. We got pretty good at using axe too. Rope. Yeah, we had rope in case you had to pull and encourage a tree in a particular direction, contrary to where you wanted to go. Because you had to fell trees. We came for a rocket stove though.
Yeah, we'd already built one.
Yeah, we built a rocket stove. Yeah, because we knew we'd be lighting.
We'll be cooking outside.
Outside, because my wife had the idea. If you listen to our testimony, my wife had the idea to convert our stove into a wood-burning stove. We didn't bring it with us. So, yeah.
What we also got was a stove top. And all of those things, I think because the one.
Oh yeah, the single burner stove top. Oh yes, they have the double and the okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we got that.
The reason why we got all of those things, with living off grid, especially since we developed it, we had to build our own home while we were there. What we did was stock up, understand that we're going into this location for a period of time for setting up the location. So we stocked up on food.
Because we were not working once we were building the house.
We stocked up on food. We stocked up on the things that we know we would need, and we basically stayed in there to develop until we had the land and the house developed at a certain stage where it was.
It didn't really go like that because we had to leave and go on work and to get more money to finish the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was part of the process as well. There was something else we got rain barrels.
Yes, we got rain barrels.
Yeah, that's another thing we got. And we came with
a mattock. Yeah, a mattock.
A pickaxe. Yes, we had a mattock.
Yeah, all the gardening tools we got.
A wheelbarrow. We had a wheelbarrow.
Yes, we got a wheelbarrow. Yeah. Before we had a wheelbarrow, we got buckets.
Let me tell you.
Oh, where did you guys purchase the headlights? Online. Let me see. I can send you a link for the one we bought. And yeah, feel free to I know a lot of people usually ask us, concerning our gear. Whenever we buy gear, we don't buy cheap gear.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
We buy gear that we can trust our life on it.
Yeah.
So we don't go for the cheapest of anything. We want things that we can depend on when we need to.
So if we're getting a solar generator, we're willing to wait and get the best
until we have the money to get it.
Yeah. And
our headlights are waterproof, so if it's raining, not raining, I don't want to be in the bush walking through and then it starts raining and my headlight stops and I'm in the pitch black darkness. So our headlights are waterproof. I think XP60.
I'll get you I'll send the link in for our. I wish I had it. Will I have it there?
Like, there are many headlights. You know?
As you're doing that, one of the observation as it relates to preparing for tools, I suggest that one can start purchasing tools now. You don't have to wait when you need to purchase all the tools. You buy one this month, you buy one next month, and then by the time you realize you have a whole lot of tools.
Yeah. And they don't expire. Tools don't expire. You just have to store them wisely. Yeah. So you want me to go get
get the headlight. I'll show you the headlights as well and yeah. You go ahead, you go. Take my knife from you. The knife. Where do I have my knife? Yeah, so I would just let you see the headlights and also the headlights and also the went off. The headlights and the knife that we use. Well, that we would recommend, I guess, to persons. And let me see if I can get this other one working. Okay, so my camera does not want to work anymore. I do not know why. So I really do not know why. But okay, but my husband went to get the light so everybody could get to see what it looks like. And I would also post it in the chat. Yeah, buying things one at a time is ideal. We with our tools, with our everything that we had, we took our time to buy it. What we always said, you grow as a plant. You grow as a plant. You don't grow more than you can handle. Yes, there is a time soon to come upon the face of this earth, but it's not now. It's not now, so you don't want to burden yourself, and then when the time comes, you no longer know what to do. So let me see if I can get the camera back working. So let me just see what's all right. I'm trying to see if I could get my camera back on, guys, to show you. See this out. Okay, so I'll show you the camera dive.
What's it called? The camera dive? Oh,
yeah,
no.
The camera dive. So let me just share the link of the
bank on the property. of this kind of thing. How to value it. It's in the calculator. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I'm sharing. Let me just share my screen instead, so y'all can see it. This is just wash it like that. So this is basically the headline that we have.
I'm sure it's not.
No, you can't read the camera not working. It's not working either.
What?
I don't know why. So yeah, this is the I'll copy and paste the link in the chat. Yeah, it has. Yeah, I would have loved to show you guys. Yeah, I don't know if I have the right link, but yeah, let me copy it again.
Just copy this.
That's why I did it. Yeah, so that's the link that we just shared with you guys. And there's one other thing that we.
What? Sorry, so I want it.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Share what you like.
What I like about it is that it is waterproof for one, but it has a motion sensor on it, so you can put it on and off without touching it, and you can also use it for security. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I can explain. It has a motion sensor on it, so yes, it's my headlight, but I can set it up for security as well, because it can come on with motion. Mine is just simply passing in front of it, and it comes on and off because it has a motion sensor built into it. So yes, it's my headlight, but it's a trail. I can set it up on a location on the trail that if somebody were to come through, I'd see the light come on and I'd know. So yeah, so it's added security one time. And because it's USB rechargeable, if I'm in the bush for a long time and my battery dies, as long as I have the solar panels with me, I can charge them to use them next day.
Okay. Ronnie, I see your hands. Go ahead. Okay.
Okay. I am someone. Well, I have dogs. I have 2 dogs, right? What is your advice for someone going country living and having such domesticated pets like dogs and cats? What's the recommendation for these pets? Do we just leave them behind, or do we? When I say leave them behind, I mean give them to someone who's responsible, or is it a wise idea to go country living with them, knowing their diet and everything else?
Yeah, you could go country living with them. You could grow chickens to feed your dog. You could grow fish to feed your cats. Listen to me. If you have ever eaten chicken, I don't know if they told you, but they used to kill it. They kill it so that you can eat it. Trust me, you'll not be asking me about that when you live in the country. So you can grow chicken and feed your dog, if that's what you feed your dog now. Huh? That is.
Yeah, some people that have healthy farm dogs.
Yeah, some of the things that are good for dogs is sweet potato, pumpkin, broccoli.
Exactly.
They eat that as well.
Yeah, so that you can feed your dog.
It's not necessarily a strict meat diet.
Yeah. But the dog is good for safety. If you have animals and that dog is trained, that dog can herd and those animals for you. The dog is a good companion.
Makes you aware of things that you may not necessarily.
We had a dog. They poisoned it. I saved it from poison once. The second time they poisoned it, I didn't get to it in time. But that dog would let you know anybody that come up the road. I think if they had imagined themselves to come up the road, that dog would know. So pets are wonderful, especially for the children, because they wouldn't have as much entertainment, television. Well, if you upgrade, you're watching your power usage, you wouldn't have as much screen time. So a dog is a great companion. Yes, they coconut, but
yes, I remember when somebody one time we were going and
our dogs coconut water.
Yeah, and we were harvesting coconuts, and I remember we cut one for the dog, and I remember somebody who listens is like, "You feed your dog coconuts?" And I'm like,
and jelly coconut too.
Yes, like what? People can barely get coconuts in the north, and you're feeding a dog coconuts.
I remember when I picked mangoes and I would give the dog a mango. Like, what? The dog eat mango?
Yeah,
the dog eat mango. In heaven, what do you think they're gonna be eating? So
Yeah, you need to be careful with the mango, huh?
For true?
You need, yeah, no, they might, especially with the seed.
Oh, okay. My dog used to eat the seed. He used to hold it in his hand, with pause and chant. Let me tell you.
Bite the skin off of it.
Yeah.
We see a hand.
Yeah.
Macarius, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it, I suppose Ronnie might be talking about the breed dogs, but I find it funky as well. You can take your dog with you. But the dogs, the animals were meant for country living. We took them to the towns
exactly.
and the cities.
Exactly. That's a good response. Yeah.
Yes, they are. Let me tell you, they enjoy it. They enjoy it.
Tell you.
One more thing I'd like to share with everyone before we do our closing exercises is a knife that has really grown on me as it pertains to a tool to have.
For ladies especially?
Yeah. It is a great I really like it. And it has a flint on it. No, I'm not getting paid. I'm just telling you guys. You see, watch it didn't tell you. Last purchase.
You share your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So this is one of the knives that I really like. I've had others before, and this one really stands out. Lincoln's knives are kind of different from mine. I prefer the folding ones that has everything in it. So this is something else it's a tool that was good to have.
I prefer full tang knives. That is the knife that has the metal from the tip all the way to the butt of the knife, because I plan on abusing it. So it has to be able to take what I can give it. So I don't like folding knives, because I've had folding knives that went the other way. Yeah. So
that was my recommendation. And there's one more thing I'd like to add. What I like about it, it has a flint on it already. I can peel grapefruit. I love grapefruit. And
it has a whistle as well.
It has a whistle.
Because you cannot whistle with your fingers.
I can't hear. Lincoln can do that. I can't. So it has a whistle in it as well. It can clip on my belt, so I can go anywhere with it.
Yeah, it also has.
It has the pliers and all of that stuff. That really helps.
And the blade of the pliers can be changed on this one? No,
that one. The other ones. There's one more thing I'd like to share with you guys on tools. Solar generator. What's the one you recommended again? I don't remember it. Huh? If I see it,
hold on, I did it. Something.
No, I don't remember it.
But it's already there.
The link. Oh, I should share a link. Okay, let me share the link of the other one.
The solar generator?
No, the knife. My knife.
Oh, you didn't share the link? No. No, you're gonna make everybody buy the same knife.
No, that's just my favorite. Okay. Yeah, this is my favorite. Lincoln's one is quite different.
It's a good price. That's what I like about it. It's a nice price for a knife.
Yeah, that's just mine. Yeah. But since you asked, we asked about tools, I'm just sharing. So that's the link for the knife, and then there is it's saying J or JA. Then the solar generator.
The small one. Oh, the jackery you're talking about. The jackery.
Jack.
JACKERY, yeah. Solar generator.
All right. Boom. It's kind of on the, I guess, for some people, the pricey side.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a wonderful little device.
This is a small,
simple,
mobile,
keeping your car power source.
Yeah. So if you just setting up, you moving, so that's something that we would recommend for ourselves.
You charge cordless 2 batteries.
I'll put it in the cart as well.
No, we have a big one in the cart. No?
A big no, in the sorry, in the chat, in the
in the chat.
In the chat, sorry. So I put down in the chat as well. You can do your own research.
Yeah, there are pepper brands like EcoFlow, Metro.
Okay.
Which are more expensive.
Yeah, but I'm just sharing the one that you know. Yeah. Yes, but you can do your own research as it pertains to them as well.
So it's a one expense solar entry-level solar power.
Yeah.
So instead of a big solar panel kit, and that one can pack away and store away. So it's good for in a hurricane. So so it's good for like in a hurricane to get power. And I remember, I did put in that note when does the hurricane happen in Dominica? I went to Dominica just after the hurricane because I went to try and find some people that were lost. They didn't hadn't heard from them and they were cut off. So I went to Dominica to that. But one thing that struck me, there was Digicel opened their store and they had a generator and they had extensions and they were like 100 or something people or more charging their phones on that little thing. And I had my little solar panel in my back. I'll just pull up, open my panel in my bag, open my panel, charge my phone and be on my way. And I saw so many people, I'm like, wow, imagine the lifestyle God is calling us for, prepares us for even hurricanes, natural disasters. And I was more prepared than I was more prepared than people I saw there because of the lifestyle I already live, because I already live off grid. So if there's a hurricane, it doesn't, and they lose power, it doesn't affect me much. I still live the same lifestyle. It doesn't affect me much.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, sometimes when there's a storm and everybody's lights out, our lights are on because our lights not dependent on the grid. Yeah. So that's some of the advantages, I guess.
So I would like to even add as we close, the lifestyle God is calling us to live is not only for a time in the future.
It helps now.
It is very valuable to live that lifestyle now. And like Lincoln said, when the hurricane in Dominica came and the place was devastated, because he lived this particular lifestyle, he was equipped to go over there and be of some help. So even as it pertains to the when he got there and he saw that the persons didn't have the water, but there was water because Dominica has rivers, but it was not clean. So because we lived that type of lifestyle, we knew about filtering water and some of the things that we used.
I had a life story for me when I went there, so I could have made my own water fresh.
Yeah.
So, I want to add something else because we live off grid as well. Even in our choice of a vehicle, we considered power. So we have a 1997, it's an old vehicle, 1997 Toyota Surf, and it has a 110 outlet in the back. Now the outlet is only 400 watts, I think. You can upgrade it, but we have been able to use that outlet, except for this laptop. Apparently this laptop taking more power than it's supposed to. But we have been using it before to charge things. So even on our drive to somewhere, we can be using that outlet. Or our washing machine, we have to try it on it. We have a very tiny washing machine.
We have to try it on it. On the vehicle.
I think the washing machine is a 100-watt washing machine.
Yeah,
so it surely should work on the vehicle. So so even in our choice of vehicle, we considered country living and off-grid living and stuff like that.
Yeah. So do we have any final questions before we close? Oh, it's raining. Is the door open? Is that let me see if the chat has any final questions. Okay, so we don't have any. Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining us for this session. It was a Q. Basically, you just get to ask questions concerning country living and whatever was unclear. So we thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to, if you have any other questions, you can go to our website at narrowwaylife.com and feel free to shoot us a question in our contact us section. So you can go to contact us to share a question, and then we will shoot you an email. So as we close, let us bow our heads to pray, to thank God for this session and to continue to take care of us.
Thank you. Thank you for preserving our life, Lord, taking us home. We're a little late, Lord, but it was home. We had a long, busy day, Lord. And we thank you for these opportunities, Lord, where we get to make an income. But Father, we thank you for the opportunity where we get to share what you've been teaching us as well. And pray that every life will be touched. And Lord, that we will make wise decisions when considering country living, Lord. And nobody will do something, Lord, that will bring reproach on your name, or that will be a discouragement to others, Lord. But by precept and example, Lord, may those who come behind us find us faithful, and may the life we live lead them to you. In just my prayer. Amen.
Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. And if at any point you want to view the recordings, you can go to Country Living Seminar, go into our seminar section, Country Living. If you're not yet logged in, you log in, and you get to see exactly where all of our sessions are. Okay, so you just scroll down and get to see all the sessions that are coming up and the ones that you can take a look at. So this is our country living section, so you can view all of our old videos. So thank you once again for joining us, and feel free to donate. Do not be shy. Your donations go to a worthy cause. If you read about the outpost, you will learn a little bit more about what it goes to.
She didn't say no, we actually need the donations, because in preparing for this seminar, it took a lot of time that we would have spent in earning an income. It took that time in preparing for it. So yeah, there's a big sacrifice we made. And I always say, if it's free, it means somebody else is paying for it. So there's no such thing as free. So it'd be nice if some people donate, because we've been paying for the seminar thus far.
Yeah, and it's, yeah. And
so that is if it's been a blessing. If it's not a blessing to you, then you know.
Yeah.
So if it's been a blessing to you, then it'd be nice.
So we will do our closing song, which, listen to me, we're online already, so we're gonna do our closing song as we close.
It's on every slide we ever do. Yeah.
So I'll share our closing song.